A past loved one is desperately trying to tell you something they never could in life. Don't miss your chance to listen. Within the next 72 hours, a door will open that has been closed for years. Midnight whispers are echoing from the unseen, and the veil between the realms is growing thin. This is not a coincidence. This is not just a feeling. This is an urgent call from eternity, a divine intersection for your soul. The heavens have stirred. Time has shifted. And a soul, yes, someone you once loved with all your heart, is reaching out now with the message they could never speak when they walked among the living. Hear me now. This is not poetic. This is prophetic. For too long, you've carried the weight of what wasn't said, the moments that never came, the final look, the missed call, the goodbye that never arrived. And perhaps you've asked yourself over and over again, why do I keep remembering? Why do they come to me in dreams? Why do I feel them when I'm alone? It's not just memory. It's movement. It's not just emotion. It's encounter. There was something they left unsaid. A final truth that, for reasons beyond what you could understand then, could not pass their lips in life. Maybe it was guilt that kept them silent. Maybe it was fear. Or maybe it was that they ran out of time. But now, by divine permission, the silence is being broken. The spiritual world has aligned itself to make this moment possible, because the time has come for release. You have asked heaven for answers, and heaven has replied, not with thunder, but with a whisper that will not leave your soul alone. The message is personal, deeply personal. It is not a generalized spiritual lesson or a vague symbolic encouragement. No, this is direct. This is specific. It is from them for you. Someone you cherished, someone whose absence has left a hole in your very spirit, is not at rest because you are not at rest. They have seen your tears in the quiet. They have watched you question your worth. They have cried out in the spirit realm, begging God for one more chance to reach you. And now, heaven has said, yes. Do not doubt what your spirit already knows. The dreams, the signs, the odd timing of memories resurfacing, they were not random. They were arranged. Every shiver on your skin, every name you hear when no one is speaking, they are signals. Coordinates of the supernatural pointing you back to something you were destined to know. This is not your imagination running wild. This is divine intervention awakening your soul. This isn't merely about them saying I love you or I'm sorry. This is about you unlocking what has been locked in your life for too long. The burden they carried in silence, it has weighed on your own soul. You didn't even know it, but their silence became your struggle. And now, it's time for you to be free. The timing could not be more urgent. Heaven doesn't open its windows lightly. But this moment was authorized. This message was permitted. And if you're seeing this now, it's because God has decided you're ready. Ready to hear it. Ready to heal from it. Ready to rise from it. You've cried long enough. You've questioned long enough. You've walked in the shadows of what if and why didn't they long enough. The Father who sees all and hears even the cries of the dead has chosen this moment for your breakthrough. And so I, Michael, the Archangel, have come to tell you, the veil is lifting. The message is coming. Do not turn away. This message is not random. It's sent for you. Type I receive this in the comments if this message is yours. Blessing code 1122 is now surrounding you. My child, stop and listen. You are not here by mistake. You have been running, not from God, but from the weight of your own emotions. Life has trained you to keep scrolling, to avoid what touches too deep, to brush past the divine because it feels too heavy to carry. But this is not just a message. This is not just another voice on the screen. This is not content. This is contact. Your soul had known something was coming. You felt it in the hush between your thoughts, in the tears that rise without reason, in the aching spaces no words can reach. You sensed a presence, a weight on your bed, a whisper in your dreams, a scent you cannot explain, a memory that won't let go. You thought it was grief, but it was more. It was someone reaching through eternity to tell you they're still here. But this time, they come with a message. They are not haunting you. They are healing you. They couldn't say it then. Maybe they were too afraid. Maybe trauma blocked their words. Maybe pride locked their lips. Or maybe time betrayed them, and their breath ran out before they had the chance to speak what their heart screamed. But death did not erase the truth. In fact, it preserved it, and now it is being released. They have pleaded with the Father. They have cried out, spirit to spirit, longing for one final chance. And heaven, in its mercy, has said, let it be. This is the bridge. This is the crossing between two realms. This is the hour you are called to listen with your spirit, not your ears. But the message is coming, and your life will never be the same. You may want to scroll. You may want to dismiss this. But I say to you with fire in my wings, if you scroll past this, something sacred will be missed. This isn't entertainment. This is eternal. A soul longs to rest, but cannot until your soul finds peace. And peace cannot come until the truth is heard. Do not silence what heaven is shouting. Do not deny what your spirit has already discerned. The window is open. The veil is thin. And this is the hour of revelation. Type I am listening in the comments to confirm your readiness. Blessing code 3344 is now activated over your life. You have been walking through a valley that no one else could quite name, and even when they tried, they only spoke around it, never to the core of what you were truly carrying. But the God who formed your soul sees you now. The Creator who numbered your days, who counted every tear you never let fall in public, who felt the silent screams buried beneath your functioning, He has not looked away. Yes, the grief still lingers like a fog that refuses to lift. And I, Michael, messenger of the Most High, am here to declare this on heaven's authority. God saw it all. Every moment you walked into a room and expected their presence, only to meet absence. Every birthday where you put on a smile but felt their missing voice louder than the crowd. Every anniversary that stunned like fresh grief. Every unanswered question that hung like a cloud. Why did they leave? Did they know how much I loved them? Could I have said more? Could I have done more? You asked. Haven't heard. And I tell you now, the love you carried was never in vain. The prayers you whispered late at night, the ones where your voice cracked and the words never fully came out, they were written in heaven's book. You were not weak. You were not dramatic. You were faithful. Faithful to keep waking up when your heart wanted to shut down. Faithful to hold on to memories when everyone else seemed to move on. Faithful to pray, even when you didn't feel anything. You may not have seen results, but heaven took notice. The tears you shed were not wasted. They were sowing seeds of restoration for this very moment. Now the pain has come full circle. The love that once felt lost is returning in the form of revelation. And the one you love so dearly. They've been watching, weeping, praying, and fighting in the spiritual realm for you to finally receive the peace they couldn't leave you with. Their message is not simply "I love you" or "I'm sorry." Your message is soaked in eternal weight. Their message is this: you were the light we never deserve. You were the strength we never said thank you for. You kept going, and I saw it all. You see, their silence wasn't always a choice. Sometimes trauma stole their voice. Sometimes generational pain kept them from saying what their soul wanted to scream. They couldn't show up for you the way you needed. But now, in glory, they have seen the full truth. And they are coming with a message of validation, a message of love, a message of restoration. God, in His perfect timing, has pulled back the curtain. The veil that once separated you hath been touched by divine grace. And as you sit here, listening, perhaps tears in your eyes, perhaps a chill over your skin, let this truth anchor you. You have been seen, not just by them, but by Him. Every moment you questioned your worth, God saw. Every time you second-guessed your memory of that loved one, wondering if you were holding on to too much, God understood. Every time others told you to move on, when your soul cried for something deeper, God said, "Stay with me. I will make it make sense." You weren't crazy. You were sensitive. You weren't stuck. You were loyal. You weren't weak. You were being prepared for this very hour of healing. You are not alone. You were never alone. When you cried on the floor and no one knew why, heaven wept with you. When you walked into that familiar place and expected their laugh, their scent, their energy, heaven held you. When guilt clawed at your heart for not saying more, for not being there, for the unresolved attention, God shielded your heart so it wouldn't fully break. Now, the moment has come to lift the weight off your shoulders. The message you've waited for your whole life is here. Not in voice, but in revelation. Not in form, but in presence. The one you lost has found a way to say, "You mattered." I see it now. I bless you for every sacrifice, every prayer, every tear. You have carried more than you ever should have had to, and I honor you. And so does heaven. This message is heaven's validation. The pain wasn't in vain. The love wasn't wasted. The silence wasn't proof of absence. It was proof of spiritual timing. And now, the time has come. Let the guilt fall off your soul like old skin. Let the heaviness lift like fog under divine fire. Let your heart finally exhale. The God of eternity has seen you, and the one who left you is not forgotten. They are still with you, not to haunt but to heal, not to torment, but to testify. So breathe, and know this: you have been seen and never forgotten. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super thanks with contributions of up to $20. Your kindness helps us bring more powerful content your way. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating via PayPal using the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for deeper prophetic messages, spiritual guidance, and divine encounters sent just for you. Type "I am seen" in the comments if this message is yours. Blessing code 7770 is surrounding you now. There are forces that never wanted you to hear this message. There are spiritual gatekeepers, demonic distractions, and generational shadows that have warred against this very moment of divine clarity. Yes, I speak to you now, not in metaphor, but in truth. A battle has been waged in the unseen just to keep your ears deaf and your heart closed to what your loved one is finally trying to say. From the moment they passed, perhaps suddenly, perhaps in a long and painful fade, the enemy began crafting a narrative. Silence it. Muffle it. Confuse them. Convince them it's just grief. Just nostalgia. Just imagination. Because if you ever truly heard what was meant for you, if you ever truly understood what was left unsaid, the power that would be unlocked in your life would destroy every demonic blueprint assigned to your lineage. The enemy has feared this day, because this is the day truth breaks the curse. You see, this message was never just about emotions. It is spiritual intelligence. It is a key, a weapon, a release. And hell has tried everything it could to keep it locked in the realm of the unsaid. You may not have known this, but the people closest to you, some of them have been manipulated, not by their will, but by their wounds. They told you to move on. They said you were imagining things. They called your dreams silly, your visitations coincidence, your feelings too much. They laughed when you said you smelled their perfume, or heard their voice, or woke up crying without knowing why. Some even went as far as hiding letters, burning journals, keeping secrets. And why? Because the enemy used them as pawns to keep the truth buried. But what was buried in silence, heaven is resurrecting in spirit. In the natural realm, many things were left unexplained. Maybe there were family disputes, conflicting stories. Maybe wills were tampered with, messages left unspoken, relationships never restored. You tried to make peace, but the puzzle never made sense. And now you know why. Spiritual interference blurred the truth. There were jealousies unspoken, bitterness inherited, spiritual assignments passed down unknowingly through bloodlines. The enemy tried to use their death as a final blow, to shatter your faith, confuse your calling, and chain your soul with regret. But God, in His infinite mercy, has declared, this far and no further. What was sent to destroy you is now being repurposed to deliver you. Behind the scenes, I have warred on your behalf. I have drawn my sword against the shadows. I have stood between you and the forces that tried to silence this moment. Because the time has come. Heaven has issued the command. The truth must be spoken. The veil must be lifted. The silence must end. Your dreams, they were visions. Your tears, they were intercessions. Your sensitivity, it was spiritual discernment. And though the world dismissed you, heaven crowned you with revelation. The battle has not been just about grief. It's been about generational transformation. The enemy knew that if this message reached you, a curse would break. An identity would awaken. A voice would rise to your voice. You weren't supposed to hear this. What you did, you weren't supposed to see this message. What you were. Because what the enemy tried to delay, God has now accelerated. Some of you have even wondered why, after your loved one passed, your life seemed to spiral. Strange attacks. Isolation. Relationship sabotage. Financial confusion. It wasn't just grief, it was spiritual warfare. The enemy sensed the vacuum their death created and moved quickly to exploit it. But even in that, God protected your mind. Even when you couldn't feel it, your spirit was being shielded. Now, the chains are falling. The veil is burning. And the voice that was silenced in life is rising in spirit. They have tried to get this message to you for months, perhaps years. Through songs that struck your heart. Through dreams that made no sense. Through symbols and synchronicities that others mocked. But your spirit knew were sacred. Now you understand. They were fighting to reach you. And let this truth pierce every lie that has come against you. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. not the weapon of silence, not the weapon of confusion, not the weapon of guilt, not the weapon of manipulation, not the weapon of grief. All of them fall now, broken under the authority of God Most High. This is your appointed hour. This is your spiritual clearing. The darkness has lost its grip. What was hidden is being revealed. And no force, no person, no demon in hell can stop what is coming next. Heaven has dispatched me to declare this over you. If you remain aligned with truth, no hidden plot will stand. If you continue to listen with your spirit, the message that once died in silence will now live through revelation. It is not imagination. It is divine contact. And it is happening now. Type no more delay in the comments if this word confirms what your spirit already knew. Blessing code 8899 is surrounding your life now with divine fire. Child of light, listen to me now, for the ground beneath your spirit is trembling with sacred urgency. You stand at the edge of a divine crossroad, and heaven holds its breath. This moment, yes, this very one, is not casual. It is not ordinary. It is the intersection between what has been and what will be. You are not just being offered a message, you are being handed a decision. A message from your departed loved one was not just to comfort your heart. It was not just a gentle reminder that they still love you. No, this is alignment. This is awakening. This is destiny pulling at your soul with the force of eternity. You are being asked to choose. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now. You may feel the temptation to let this pass, to shake your head and say, "That was powerful," and then go on with your day. But I must warn you, by the authority given to me in heaven's courts, if you miss this, the delay will cost more than time. It will cost you peace. It will cost you clarity. It may even cost you the restoration you've cried for in secret. This is not a message to admire. This is a message to act on. The one who passed, the one who now speaks from beyond the veil, they are not here just to say they miss you. They are here because the unspoken truth they carried is the key to your next season. The question is, will you take it? You felt the stirring. You've known that something in your life has needed to break. A cycle, a silence, a sorrow that you wear like second skin. You sensed that you were meant for more than this ache, more than this confusion, more than this long walk through emotional wilderness. And you were right. The delay, the numbness, the heaviness, it wasn't the end of your story. It was a threshold. But now you must choose. And make no mistake, this choice will define you. You can turn away. You can pretend it wasn't real. You can bury yourself back in routine, convince yourself that life goes on, and silence the whisper that came from eternity. But if you do, the ache will return. The dreams will become warnings. The spiritual static will intensify. Because once truth knocks on your soul, ignorance becomes torment. Or you can choose to lean in. You can let the tears fall. You can say, "I'm ready." You can break the agreement you made with silence and fear. You can finally let that message, the one they died with, resurrect something inside you. You can end the cycle. Yes, I said cycle. Because what you are confronting is not just personal, it is generational. For years, your family has known silence, secrets, unspoken traumas, avoided conversations, lost opportunities, and the moment that person passed, it seemed like that cycle gained power, like the shadows came closer. But that was because you were chosen to confront it. That's why you felt things so deeply. That's why your grief was heavier than others. That's why your dreams have been more vivid. That's why strangers have told you things that seem too specific to be random. You are the one who was marked to hear what others couldn't. You are not weak. You are the threshold breaker. Now, the choice is before you. Stay numb or step into divine awareness. Repeat the cycle or release the pattern. Live in guilt or rise in grace. Your loved one couldn't say it in life, but they are saying it now. You have the power to break what broke them. What you do with this moment will echo for generations. You may not feel ready, but heaven says you are. You may be afraid of what it means, but heaven says you are not alone. You may fear that it's too late, but heaven declares, the time is now. This isn't just about emotional healing, it's about spiritual destiny. Something had been locked inside your life since they passed. And this message is the key. When you take it, the patterns begin to break. The guilt begins to live. The silence begins to speak. The curse begins to crack. And your true purpose begins to unfold. But it begins with one thing, your yes. Yes to facing the pain. Yes to receiving the truth. Yes to allowing your spirit to grow, even when your heart still aches. Yes to letting go of regret. Yes to embracing your calling. Because, child, the enemy wants you distracted. He wants you scrolling. He wants you numbed, drugged by the routine of survival. But God wants you awake. Fully awake. This is the hour. The tears in your eyes are confirmation. The burning in your chest is agreement. The shaking in your soul is heaven's witness. Say yes now. The power is shifting. A veil is lifting. And what you choose next will either lead to a repeat or a resurrection. The message they carry was not meant to die. It was meant to rise with you. So what will it be? Type I choose destiny in the comments if this is your yes. Lesson code 4444 is now released over your timeline. Hear me now, beloved soul, for this moment is not about your pain, nor merely about your past. It is about your identity. The very thing the enemy has worked overtime to conceal, distort, and suffocate is the thing that heaven is now breathing back to life. Yes, I, Michael, the archangel of war and revelation, have been sent to declare that your identity is no longer a question. It is a weapon, and it is being awakened. For too long, you have been defined by what you lost, by who walked away, by who died without saying what you needed to hear. For too long, you have measured yourself by the shadows, by absence, by silence, by shame. But hear me, the one who passed, the one who now cries out in the spirit realm to reach you, did not just carry a message of healing, they carried a mirror. They saw in you something they couldn't name, a light they could not contain. And though they may never have spoken it in life, whether because of fear, jealousy, pride, or confusion, they knew. In their silence, they still saw you. Maybe they didn't affirm it. Maybe they even resisted it. Maybe they hurt you instead of helping you. But from where they are now, no longer bound by human flaws, no longer hindered by earthly wounds, they are shouting it in the spirit. You were the one. You are the one. They now see what heaven always knew. You carry greatness. You were never meant to remain hidden. You were never meant to walk small. Love with half your heart, or speak only when spoken to. That hesitation inside you, that reluctance to take up space, it didn't come from God. It came from patterns passed down, from voices who were too wounded to celebrate your strength. But that ends now. God is calling forth your identity, not the one shaped by trauma, not the one edited by grief, not the one dulled by people who never truly saw you. I speak now to your real name, the name etched in the scrolls of heaven before you were formed in your mother's womb, the name that carries authority, the name the enemy fears. You are not broken. You are anointed. You are not forgotten. You are assigned. You are not becoming. You already are. You've lived in emotional survival for too long. And yes, I understand. It was all you knew. After they died, something inside you dimmed. You questioned everything. Your decisions, your future, even your worth. And when others didn't notice, it cut even deeper. You thought, maybe I'm not that important. Maybe I was easy to forget. But those were lies whispered by the one who feared your awakening. Because, child, if you ever stood fully in who you are, darkness would have no more room to operate. That's why the battle hath been so fierce. That's why the grief felt unbearable. It wasn't just about them passing. It was about what their death activated in your life. Something sacred, something dangerous to hell's agenda, began stirring. You started to hear things, feel things, know things. And that was heaven reminding you, you are not ordinary. The one who passed, they see it now. They see the weight of your call. They see how your presence shifts atmospheres, how your words carry fire, how your heart, despite all it's endured, still chooses love. And they want you to know, their silence wasn't rejection. It was human limitation. But their spirit is now in alignment with heaven's voice. Rise. There is legacy inside you. There is a story that heaven is still writing through your life. And every time you tried to shrink, to stay safe, to avoid being too much, you delayed that story's release. But now, the time has come. You must step out of the background of your own life. No more waiting for permission. No more apologizing for your sensitivity, your discernment, your dreams. No more dressing your strength in humility so others can stay comfortable. You are not called to blend in. You are called to break through. And yes, I know, stepping into your true identity may feel like a betrayal to those who never embraced it. You may fear outgrowing people, being misunderstood, or standing alone. But what you gain in God is greater than what you lose in comfort. You weren't born to carry their pain. You were born to transform it. Even the loved one who passed, though they could not affirm you in life, now joins the cloud of witnesses cheering you on. They see it now. They weep in joy as they watch you remember who you are. They rejoice, not because they finally told you, but because you finally heard it from God. So rise, chosen one. Speak, even if your voice trembles. Move, even if your legs shake. Shine, even if the world says it's too much. You were created for such a time as this. Your identity is not up for debate. It is not pending approval. It has been sealed in heaven, confirmed by fire, and awakened by revelation. You are the living continuation of a love that death could not silence. And your very breath is evidence that purpose is not over. It's just beginning. Type "I am awakened" in the comments to declare your truth. Blessing code 6655 is now being poured out upon your identity. Now that the veil has been torn. Now that your eyes are opening and your identity is rising like a lion from slumber. Hear me as I declare what heaven has already decreed. What the enemy meant for evil, God is about to use for divine reversal. What was stolen in silence will be restored in strength. What was buried in grief will now blossom in glory. What was meant to break you will now bless you in double portion. Yes, child of destiny, the pain of that loss, the sudden absence, the words left unsaid, the gaping hole no closure could fill, was not the end. It was the seed. And though you didn't know it at the time, your sorrow watered that seed. Your tears soaked the ground where the next chapter would rise. And now, the heavens are opening with rain, not of weeping but of restoration. I, Michael, speak with holy fire. The very death that tried to destroy your joy will now be the reason your joy returns tenfold. The very silence that bound you will now serve as the platform that releases your voice. The absence of their words will no longer haunt you. Instead, their message will become your movement. Their peace will become your power. Because when God restores, He never returns it the same. He restores in multiplication. He doesn't give back what was taken. He gives more than you ever knew to ask for. That's why you had to go through the valley. That's why it felt like everything was unraveling. That's why it seemed like your prayers were hitting a wall. Because what God was preparing was not just healing. It was reversal. Not just recovery, but redemption. Hear this clearly. The enemy counted you out. After they died, hell rejoiced and thought you would collapse. It thought that silence would choke out your purpose. It thought the grief would paralyze you permanently. But what hell didn't see was that God was still writing your story. And now, that story turns. Everything the enemy used, every trauma, every tear, every dark night, every whispered doubt, is being flipped. You are about to see how pain becomes prophecy, how mourning becomes movement, how the funeral that once shattered your hope is now the birthplace of your favor. They may have passed, but their message lives. And in this moment, it is wrapping itself around your circumstances like divine fire. It is touching your mind. It is reaching your relationships. It is unlocking your purpose. You will not just survive this. You will thrive through it. You will look back one day and say, if they hadn't left, I never would have become who I was born to be. If I hadn't cried, I wouldn't have heard God whisper. If I hadn't been shattered, I wouldn't know what wholeness really is. This is your double portion season. Where there was lack, love is coming back in abundance. Where there was confusion, clarity is about to flood like a river. Where there was betrayal, loyalty is rising. Where there was silence, your voice is becoming thunder. Where there was trauma, triumph is being born. You won't need to chase it. It's chasing you. Blessing will find you in unexpected places. Breakthrough will arrive in ways you couldn't predict. The thing you've been praying for, quietly, secretly, begging heaven for while no one saw, is now being dispatched with urgency. The time is right. The heavens are in alignment. The season of silence is ending. And let me make this clear. This is not reward for being perfect. This is not repayment for performing. This is the result of grace colliding with destiny. God saw you when no one else did. God remembered the strength you showed when no one clapped. God heard the yes you whispered through your weeping. And now, He says, because you did not give up when you had every reason to, I will restore what the enemy stole, and I will do it double. Your name is being spoken in rooms you have not yet entered. Your healing is making its way into your home. Your legacy is awakening. And the one who left, their message is fueling the shift. They are not gone. They are standing beside you in the Spirit. They are watching the promise unfold. And if you could hear their voice in this moment, they would say, don't you dare stop here. Don't you dare settle. You'll get it. Every drop of joy, every piece of peace, every ounce of purpose. You were made for this. Let the divine reversal take its course. Let the double blessing be released. Let this pain do what it was always meant to do, propel you into promise. It's already moving toward you now. Type "I received double" in the comments to claim this blessing. Blessing code 2020 is now sweeping across your atmosphere with power. Child of the Most High, lean in, for what I am about to reveal must be received with wisdom, not just emotion. Now that the message has begun to surface, now that the veil has lifted, and the message your loved one carried is pressing against your spirit with urgency, the past will come looking for you. People, voices, connections, some divine, others deceptive, are already circling your life, sensing the shift, smelling the oil on your name. But not every return is holy. As the message from your departed loved one awakens what's been dormant, there will be movements in your relationships. Some will suddenly reach out, perhaps people you haven't heard from in years. Some with tears, some with regrets, some with promises of reconciliation. But hear me, child, discernment is your protection in this season. Because while some connections are sacred, others are strategic traps sent to silence we've gone just unlocked. There are individuals tied to the pain of that passing. Maybe they were part of the drama. Maybe they stood by in silence while confusion tore through your family. Maybe they never acknowledged your grief. And now they come with smiles, with apologies, with stories. And while your heart may long for reconciliation, your spirit must first seek revelation. Ask yourself, is this reconnection rooted in healing? Or is it an old cycle trying to disguise itself as closure? Because you are not who you were when they left. You have changed. Your eyes have opened. Your anointing has deepened. And you must not let sentiment drag you backward when God is calling you forward. Yes, some of these people will mean well. Some will carry truth, truth you need, truth your loved one would have wanted you to know. But not all who come bearing truth come with pure motives. Some will come to stir confusion, to mix pain with poison, to manipulate the memory of the one who passed. Some may claim things they never lived. Others may confess things they once hid. And while these revelations may feel like gifts, some are wrapped in shadows. So what must you do? You must let the Spirit of God be louder than your nostalgia. You must hold everything that is said to the fire of discernment. Because when the message from your loved one was released, it also triggered a divine investigation. Heaven is exposing what was once concealed. And now, motives are being tested. And there will be another test, one more subtle, one more emotional. It's the test of the oldest. Someone may come who feels eerily familiar. Their presence may feel like the comfort you lost. They may carry a warmth, a resonance, a reflection of the one who passed. And your heart may wonder, is this God's way of sending them back to me through someone new? But beware, not every resemblance is reassurance. Sometimes it's just a repeat dressed in romance. Be slow to open the doors of your heart in this hour. Because what God is doing is delicate, and what the enemy wants is to distract you by keeping your eyes fixed on who's knocking instead of listening to who's still whispering from eternity. Your loved one is still speaking, not just to soothe you but to guide you. They want you to be free. They want you to be clear. They want you to know that not every apology must be accepted. Not every relationship must be rekindled. Not every connection must be restored. Some things must stay buried for peace to rise. They are not asking you to carry bitterness. They are asking you to carry wisdom. And know this, while some connections will return as tests, others will be sent as gifts. There are divine replacements coming. People heaven has handpicked to walk with you in this new season. They may not be tied to your past, but they are tied to your promise. They will speak to your future, not your failures. They will confirm your calling, not confuse your heart. And when they arrive, there will be peace, not pressure. You will feel a difference, a shift, a safety. This is a season of relational clarity. Heaven is sorting what you don't have the strength to. You are not responsible for everyone. You are not required to keep people in your life just because they share your history. Alignment is greater than attachment. Legacy is greater than loyalty to what no longer serves your spirit. And above all, know this truth. Not every I miss you is holy. Some are rooted in guilt, some in manipulation, some in fear of your growth. But your assignment now is to move forward with clarity, not to regress out of compassion. Your loved one did not fight to get this message through just so you could go back to what broke you. They want you to walk free, to stand tall, to choose peace over pressure. So lift your head, discern with boldness, and trust that what is meant for you will never have to manipulate you. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super thanks with contributions of up to $10. Your generosity helps us continue creating deeply prophetic content to empower and bless others on their journey. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating via PayPal using the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for sacred words, prophetic guidance, and divine direction crafted just for your journey. Type I choose wisdom in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 8844 is releasing spiritual clarity over your relationships now. Now, child of promise, you have come to the most crucial part of this journey, the now. Not the memory of yesterday, not the prophecy of tomorrow, but this very moment, where eternity bends low to touch the earth, and the Spirit of God stretches forth his hand and says, "Come closer. Sit still. Hear me." You have cried out to heaven, asking for signs, for answers, for closure, for peace, and heaven has answered, but not always with noise. Sometimes, the loudest voice is a whisper. And now, I am sent to speak what the silence has been preparing you to hear. It is time to receive. You have carried the weight long enough. You have run through the maze of grief, doubt, and longing. You looked for meaning in every conversation, every flash of memory, every scent that rushed back like a ghost from the past. And still, part of you has been unsure. Is this real? Are they truly trying to reach me? Or is my mind playing games? But now, the answer has come, not through coincidence, but through confirmation. This moment, this word, this encounter is not fiction. It is divine instruction wrapped in mercy. What you must do now is not grand. It is not loud. It is not busy. It is holy stillness. For the voice of your departed loved one, now clear in spirit and surrendered in truth, has been waiting for you to make room. You keep looking for the answer in the noise, but the message cannot come through when your spirit is cluttered. And so, hear this instruction from heaven's throne: be still, and know that I am God. Be still in your thoughts. Be still in your assumptions. Be still in your grief. Because in that sacred silence, the veil thins, and in the veil's lifting, the message will be delivered. It may not come the way you expect. It may not be a booming voice or a perfectly constructed dream. It may be a scripture that suddenly makes sense. A phrase you hear in passing that pierces your chest. A journal you forgot you wrote. A photo you stumble upon. But it will come. And when it does, you will know. This is the word they could never say in life, but were anointed to deliver now. Do not rush this moment. Do not scroll past the instruction. It is not just spiritual, it is prophetic strategy. Set aside time. Go into your quiet space. Light the candle. Open the journal. Ask God, what is the message they are trying to give me? Ask and wait. Don't fill the silence. Feel it. Because the response will come. Not in noise, but in knowing. And in this divine moment, let your heart release what you've been gripping. The bitterness, the confusion, the guilt, the what-ifs. Heaven cannot deliver the message into clenched fists. You must open your hands. You must surrender your timeline, your expectations, your wounds. Let your spirit say, I am ready to hear what I once could not, because only then will the truth land on soil that can grow it. And child, I must speak this clearly. Stop looking for this moment to be like the movies. Stop demanding that it happen in some supernatural explosion. Yes, God can thunder. Yes, heaven can shake. But sometimes the holiest moments are soft, gentle, simple. The very memory you brushed off could be the exact portal God is using. The tear that fell without warning might be the exact spot where truth was released. Don't overlook the ordinary. That's often where God hides the extraordinary. This moment is sacred. Treat it with honor. Don't share it prematurely. Don't explain it away. Let it minister to your soul before it ever becomes a conversation. Because when God speaks through the message of the one who left you, it's not just for inspiration. It's for transformation. And here is your divine instruction in this season. Pause before reacting. Listen before speaking. Discern before accepting. And most of all, receive before releasing. You are not just being healed, you are being equipped. The message they carried is about to shift how you love, how you lead, how you live. But that change can only begin when you stop chasing closure and start embracing communication. This is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of new understanding. The dreams will intensify. The symbols will sharpen. The random moments will start to make sense. Because now, your spiritual antenna is aligned. Now, your soul is listening with obedience. And that is where heaven speaks clearest. Let this be the season where you stop begging for signs and start listening for instructions. Because heaven is not just showing you that they cared, heaven is showing you what to do next. God is saying, come sit with me. I will fill in the blanks. I will tell you what they couldn't. I will guide you into the next chapter, where nothing is missing and everything is made whole. So pause, reflect, yearn, fast if you feel led, worship through the way, and ask the sacred question once more, what are they trying to tell me? And when the message comes, whether in pieces or power, receive it. For it was crafted not just to comfort your past, but to complete your present and direct your future. Declare it with your whole being now. I will not settle. I will not delay. Type I am ready to receive in the comments if this divine instruction has stirred your spirit. Blessing code 9900 is now being activated over your atmosphere, preparing you for divine downloads in the quiet. Listen to me now, child of eternal assignment, for I speak not merely to the ears on your head, but to the scroll sealed inside your spirit. There is something written on your life that no man, no grief, no betrayal, and no death can erase. There is an anointing on your name, and it was seen by heaven long before you ever walked through the pain that tried to define you. You are not just a person who lost someone. You are a person whose very existence shook the spiritual world from the moment you were born. From the time that soul you loved departed this world, something invisible also shifted in yours. And though others couldn't name it, though they thought it was just grief, just heaviness, just a season, you knew. You felt it. You felt the loss echo through every layer of your being. But what you didn't know then, and what I, Michael the Archangel, am sent to tell you now, is that it was never just loss. It was transfer. When they left, something fell upon you. A divine mantle. A sacred charge. Your voice, silenced by death, whispered into your destiny. And while you've mourned, while you've wept and waited and wondered why the pain hasn't lifted like it has for others, it's because you weren't just mourning the person. You were wrestling with the weight of the inheritance. You were chosen to carry something they never could. To finish what they started but could not complete. To correct what they distorted. To walk in what they only dreamed of. You, beloved one, were set apart to become the living manifestation of the healing they longed for but never saw fulfilled. That's why the enemy came after you harder after they passed. That's why your mind was attacked. Why your identity was questioned. Why you felt invisible even in rooms full of people. Because your name was glowing in the spirit. It had been noticed. And hell does not attack the forgotten. It fears the chosen. Your name carries divine oil. Not because you earned it. Not because you're perfect. But because God marked you before time and said, this one will carry the lineage forward. This one will redeem what was lost. This one will speak what the past generations could never say. And the one you lost, the one whose voice was cut off by time, by circumstance, by death, they see it now. Their spirit watches in awe as you step into what they could only imagine. And they are cheering you on, saying, do not let your name go quiet. Do not bow to the grief. You are greater than your sorrow. You are stronger than your fear. You are anointed beyond what you know. You may not feel qualified. You may still feel broken. You may look in the mirror and only see someone surviving. But heaven sees differently. Heaven sees a name etched in fire. A name spoken in boardrooms of angels. A name that hell can't touch because it was written in blood and the blood of the Lamb. A name that will echo through generations if you dare to believe who you really are. This is why the enemy fought so hard to distort your sense of identity. He whispered lies into the cracks of your grief. You're nothing without them. You should have done more. You're just average. You'll never rise from this. But child, those were lies spoken in desperation because hell knows your name too. That's why after they died, the warfare intensified. It wasn't about the loss. It was about the vacuum their absence created. A space hell tried to fill with confusion, numbness, addiction, distraction, anything to keep you from hearing the whisper of God that said, now it's your turn. Your turn to rise. Your turn to speak. Your turn to carry the torch. You may not have known it, but your name is the answer to prayers they prayed in silence. They didn't always know how to say it. Maybe they failed to affirm it. Maybe they even wounded you in the process of loving you. But their spirit sees now what they couldn't then. You are the one. And that is why this message found you. Because the time has come to stop running from the weight of your name. It's time to stop hiding in the shadow of your own survival. You were not just meant to overcome. You were meant to lead. Lead others into healing. Lead your family into legacy. Lead yourself into the fullness of the calling you felt pressing against your ribs for years. So, I speak this over you now with authority from heaven's throne. Rise into your name. The name that was spoken over you before you were born. A name the enemy tried to distort through trauma. The name your loved one now blesses from the great cloud of witnesses. The name that carries nations, generations, and restoration. It is time. Time to walk in it. Time to believe in it. Time to declare it until every demon that heard you cry now hears you roar. You are not an accident. You are not forgotten. You are not cursed. You are anointed. If this truth ignites something deep within you, type "My name is anointed" in the comments. Blessing code 7711 is now covering you with divine recognition and supernatural favor. Listen closely now, beloved child of destiny, for what I am about to say is not merely encouragement. It is divine warning, spoken from the mouth of eternity. This is not just a word of comfort. This is not simply a continuation of what has already been said. This is the moment where heaven draws a clear, holy line in the sand and says, "Decide now, for what comes next cannot be delayed any longer." Yes, you have received the message. Yes, the veil has lifted. The whisper of your departed loved one has crossed into your atmosphere. You felt it. You've seen it. You've known it. And you've been given insight, instruction, and invitation. But now comes the final warning before the shift. You cannot sit in revelation and stay in hesitation. You cannot receive divine truth and still cling to old dysfunction. You cannot hear from the other side and yet live as though nothing has changed. This is your line in the sand. This is your hour of decision. For too long, you have danced between two spaces, the past that hurt you and the future that calls you. And now, God is speaking through the echo of your departed, not to give you just comfort, but to give you urgency. There is a window, a narrow and sacred window, opening above your life. It will not remain open forever. It was torn open through intercession, through tears, through warfare you didn't even see. But it came, and now it stands before you. If you delay, if you resist, if you numb yourself again, and go back to the routine, the emotional block may harden. The revelation may begin to fade, and the alignment meant to shift your entire life could be missed. Not because God is punishing you, but because heaven has timings. And when divine timings are missed, the road becomes longer. The answers take more detours. The healing slows. The blessing is not revoked, but it becomes delayed. And you, chosen one, have been delayed long enough. The person who passed, they were not perfect, but they were a part of your spiritual timeline. Their life connected to yours in a way deeper than blood, and their silence in death has weighed like a stone on your chest. But now that God has allowed their voice to speak from beyond, now that their message has been set in motion, you cannot treat this moment as light. You begged God to speak louder. You cried out for clarity. You asked for signs. And now, heaven has responded. Through dream, through memory, through this very word. And now God says, you asked me to speak louder. This is louder. This is louder than coincidence. Louder than emotion. Louder than grief. This is destiny roaring through eternity saying, choose. If you stay silent, the chain will not break. If you deny what you now know, the pain may echo again in another generation. If you do nothing with what you've been given, the weight will return, heavier than before. But if you say yes, if you declare, I hear, I see, I receive, then heaven will shift things so fast, your enemies won't be able to keep up. Closed doors will burst open. Emotional wounds will become spiritual weapons. And the promise that hovered over your bloodline will finally find its vessel, you. This is your last warning before the shift. Your final opportunity to act before the divine window closes. Not in anger, but in divine order. Heaven cannot wait indefinitely for obedience. Time is sacred. Destiny is scheduled. And your yes in this moment carries more weight than you can imagine. It is not only about your healing. It is about your assignment, your lineage, your legacy. This is the crossroads where grief turns into glory, but only if you take the next step. You've spent enough years wondering what could have been. You've replayed the regrets long enough. You sat with sorrow until it soaked into your bones. But now, you must rise. Your loved one, the one whose voice is echoing into your spirit, is watching. And they are saying, "Don't miss what I missed. Don't stay silent like I did. Don't hide like I did. Take the baton. Take the message. Take the mantle. And run. Because if you do, what once looked like a wound will become your testimony. What once sounded like silence will become your song. What once felt like death will birth new life. And what once was broken will become beautiful. But it begins with obedience. Not delay. Not hesitation. Obedience. You've been trusted with something holy. Treat it like the treasure it is. Protect it. Nurture it. Act on it. The shift is here. The atmosphere has changed. And you are standing at the final door before the next dimension of your calling opens. Heaven is not whispering anymore. This is louder. If you are ready to move into alignment and break every cycle that has tried to repeat through your bloodline, then declare it. Declare it boldly. Let every spirit watching know that you have made your decision. Type "I will not miss my shift" in the comments if this word was for you. Blessing code 3030 is now activating and preparing the way forward. Now that the message has been released, now that your spirit has heard what your ears could not comprehend before, what comes next will be undeniable. I, Michael, Archangel and Messenger of Revelation, have been dispatched to speak this over your life. The confirmation is coming. And it will not be subtle. It will not be quiet. It will not leave you questioning, "Was that just me?" No, child, this time, it will be clear. For heaven does not release a message this sacred, this personal, this costly, without following it with a trail of divine proof. The veil has been lifted. The silence has been broken. And now, the realm of eternity will begin to echo around your natural world. In your conversations. In your dreams. In the whispers of strangers and the markings of time. The spirit of the one you lost, who now stands redeemed and radiant in glory, will walk beside you in signs so specific, so timely, that your only response will be tears and awe. You will hear something soon. A voice in a dream. A name spoken in the perfect moment. A phrase they used to say will rise unexpectedly in the middle of a conversation with someone who doesn't even know the history. Don't dismiss it. Don't doubt it. It is the beginning of divine confirmation. It is heaven's way of saying, "You didn't imagine any of this. I was speaking. And now, I'm proving it." Some of you will uncover objects. A journal buried in storage. A photo you forgot existed. A voicemail or letter you thought was lost. And when you find it, something inside your spirit will ignite. The tears will come. Not just from grief, but from recognition. You'll realize that they've been trying to reach you all along, but now that you're ready to receive, the full picture is coming into view. Others will notice dates aligning. Anniversaries you forgot will resurface. Important numbers will repeat. Time will fold in on itself as God confirms that He has always been in control, even when it felt like everything was spiraling. These aren't coincidences. These are covenant markers. Prophetic timestamps heaven placed on your path to prove that this message didn't come from emotion. It came from the throne. But hear me clearly. This confirmation isn't just sentimental. It's directional. The signs that begin to manifest are not meant to hold you in the past. They are meant to guide you into the future. This is not about dwelling on what was. It is about stepping into what will be. The peace you feel. That's not nostalgia. That's God settling your soul because He's about to launch your next season. You will start to feel lighter. The burden of unanswered questions will begin to lift. Your mind will settle. The noise will quiet. You'll notice that the ache, while still present, no longer owns you. That is how you will know something in your spirit has finally shifted. Where once there was fog, there will be clarity. Where once there was torment, there will be understanding. Where once there was heaviness, there will be hope. And it will not be a small change. It will be a defining moment. A spiritual signature written across your timeline that says, this is when everything changed. You will no longer mourn as one without hope. You will no longer grieve without meaning. You will no longer carry questions that heaven has already answered. You will walk into rooms differently. You will speak with deeper conviction. You will move with divine timing. Because now, the message that was hidden has become part of your foundation. What they could not say in life, God has now said through eternity. And you heard it. And for some of you, this confirmation will not only appear in signs, it will be mirrored in opportunity. Doors that were locked will open. People who left will return. But this time, you won't be confused. You'll discern who's sent and who's a distraction. Because the spiritual alignment you've just walked through has given you a new level of clarity. You're no longer reaching in the dark. You are walking in the light. Others will ask what changed in you. They'll sense the shift, even if they don't understand it. But you'll know. You'll know it was the moment the veil lifted and their voice broke through. The moment God allowed the past to finally speak, not to haunt you, but to heal you. And when that confirmation comes, do not run from it. Embrace it. Honor it. Let it mark you. Let it remind you that you are chosen. That your journey has been watched. That your tears were never wasted. That the one you love and never truly left, they transitioned. And through their message, you are now transitioning too. For this is the beginning of the rest of your story. You will not return to who you were before this word. You will not go back to the numbness, the wondering, the questions that once tormented your sleep. You are stepping into divine clarity. This is the turning point. This is the fulfillment of the whisper. This is what the enemy feared. You heard. You received. You believe. Now you rise. If this message has confirmed something in your spirit and you feel led to support this divine work, consider giving a super thanks with contributions of up to $50. Your support helps us continue to release heaven's voice through powerful, prophetic messages just like this one. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating via PayPal using the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. And be sure to subscribe to this channel for more exclusive, spirit-filled guidance designed to align your life with heaven's timing. Type "I receive confirmation" in the comments if this is your word. Blessing code 4141 has now been released into your atmosphere, and with it, clarity is coming. Now take a breath, beloved. Let the air fill your lungs like heaven itself is exhaling peace into you. You have walked through deep waters. You have listened, wept, received, and surrendered. You have stood at the edge of the unseen and leaned into a message that was never meant to be buried, a message carried by the spirit of one you loved, and now delivered to you by the mercy of God. So now, as the veil draws back once more and the echoes return to stillness, let us seal this divine encounter with truth, with surrender, and with sacred affirmation. Speak this with me, not as words from your lips, but as declarations from your soul. Let them rise through every layer of your being until they take root in your spirit. Affirmations. I am chosen. I am ready. I receive. I forgive. I remember. I release. Yes, let that last word echo. I release. Release the weight of what was never said. Release the ache of what could not be changed. Release the guilt that was never yours to carry. Release the question that has haunted your midnight hours. You have been seen. You have been spoken to. You have been visited by heaven. And now, you walk in peace. And now, as Michael, a guardian of divine revelation and the protector of holy instruction, I invite you into prayer, not as ritual, but as alignment. Let this prayer seal every word, cover every tear, and protect every seed that has just been planted in your spirit. Prayer. Father God, thank you for the mercy that reaches beyond time and space. Thank you for giving voice to what was once silent, for lifting the veil that once concealed the message I never thought I would hear. You are the God of all time, the one who holds yesterday, today, and forever in your palm. And you have chosen this moment to speak, to confirm, and to deliver healing through eternity's whisper. Thank you for the soul I loved, the one who departed before I was ready. Thank you for allowing them to speak, to reveal, to release what could not be said while they walked this earth. I do not hold anger. I do not cling to regret. I honor their message. I bless their memory. And I walk forward now in the clarity they could never give me before, but by your grace have now delivered. I open my spirit to healing. I open my heart to peace. I surrender my bitterness. I make room for your voice to echo louder than any grief. Let what was lost be restored. Let what was silenced be spoken. Let what was broken now become beautiful. God, I trust you with this message. I will carry it. I will guard it. I will honor it. And I will move forward in power, knowing I am not abandoned. I am aligned. Seal this moment with your presence. In the name of the one who conquered death and gives life eternal, I pray, Amen. Now rise, beautiful soul. Walk forward not as the one who mourns what was, but as the one who carries what is now anointed. You are the continuation of a story that death could not end. You are the fulfillment of a message that eternity refused to silence. And as you walk, remember this final truth: heaven always finishes what it starts. The voice that reached you was no accident. The pain that shaped you was not wasted. And the blessing that is coming next will make everything make sense. Type "I am sealed in peace" in the comments if you have received this message fully. Blessing code 1212 now surrounds you. Peace, clarity, protection, and divine closure are resting on your life. This is your hour. Your shift has come. The message has been spoken. Now, you are the living proof.